Today I want to just go over a couple things, some stuff I have in my survival kit and why I carry it. I always find it interesting when people post up videos on what they have in their survival kit and why they carry that kind of stuff. So I'm going to do the same thing. Um, I've got a few things I'm going to go over first of all before I get into the kit, and that's why you should carry a survival kit in the first place, as well as what you should base your survival kit on. And that is the rule of threes. There's four of them. For those of you that already know about the rule of threes, bear with me for a couple minutes here while I explain it to the people who haven't heard of it. It's very important. I think it bears repeating. The first rule of three is that your body can go 3 minutes without oxygen in it before you start to suffer brain damage and things of that nature. The second rule is 3 hours of exposure to the elements. That is whether it be out in the sun, out in the rain, whatever, you can survive 3 hours of that before you start to suffer the effects of hypothermia, hyperthermia, heat stroke, anything like that. That could be caused by exposure to the elements. Third rule is 3 days without water. Now, you can survive longer than that without water, but 3 days is when your body's going to start having possible long-term permanent damage due to lack of water. And the fourth rule of three is 3 weeks without food. Now, obviously, you can survive longer than that. People have done it, but again, 3 weeks without food is the cutoff point to where your body can start suffering long-term possible permanent damage. Now, I don't know who came up with these rules and who did the studies and whatnot, but those are the rules. And so that's what your survival kit should be based upon. All right. This video is going to be kind of long. I'm going to be probably going to end up being a two-part series because I tend to ramble sometimes, as well as I have a lot of stuff I want to go over. I'm not just going to show you what's in my kit and then toss to the side. I'm actually going to explain it and why I use some of these things. All right, so first off, here's my kit right here, all packaged up. It's just a military issue butt pack, and here we go. All right. First thing we have in here is an Aquamira Frontier filter straw. It's a pretty simple little device. You just pop in the straw right there, drop the filter in right here into whatever your water source, suck the water up, and that's it. It's a nice little emergency thing to have. It takes up no space at all, weighs like an ounce or two. Not bad at all. Next thing we're going to get into here is, actually this is my neck kit. Something that I always have around my neck. And as such, I'll put it around my neck for this video. I always have this around my neck whenever I'm out in the outdoors, be it going on a day hike, camping with the family, or I'm out on my own in the wilderness backpacking. Main part of the kit, of course, is the knife. It's the SOG Seal Pup. To be honest, it's not the greatest knife for survival use for bushcraft type stuff. The reasons are it's stainless steel instead of a carbon steel, which stainless steel is harder to sharpen. It holds its edge a long time, but it's harder to sharpen. And if I get out in the wilderness with just this, I don't have a sharpening stone on me or anything like that. So I end up, with the carbon steel blade, you can grab a stone and just sharpen it up real quick. But you can't do that with the stainless steel. Also, a thing I don't like about this is the serrations on it. It's a partially serrated blade. It actually takes up quite a bit of the blade. The reason I don't like this is because when you're trying to get some power cuts in to be able to shave off part of a branch to make a spear or your shelter or whatnot, this serration is right in the part where you get the most power from. Out here on the tip of the blade, you don't get as much power and you end up having to come at it at a weird angle, and it's just not as good. And I also don't like the plasticky textured rubber handle in a wet condition when it's raining, snow, whatever. This can get pretty slippery. I personally don't like it. I had it laying around. Someone had given it to me to store for them while I was actually in the military, and we were getting ready to go on a deployment. And I had a bunch of stuff that I was leaving with my parents to store for me over deployment. And they're like, "Hey, can you store this knife for me?" And I said, "Sure." And a deployment came. I couldn't remember who gave it to me. They never came for it, so I wound up with a free knife. It's the only knife I have currently that I can set up like this on a neck lanyard, so I ended up using it. This right here is a little, as you can see, it's a little, just a little LED keychain light made by Princeton Tech. It's called the Princeton Tech Pulsar 2. I chose this light over some of the other ones because this actually has a switch that allows it to stay on all the time. And I like that because, I can flick the switch on and then just go like this, hold the light in my mouth, and it leaves both my hands free to do whatever I need to do. I don't have to sit there and try and do things one-handed while I'm holding a light like that. So that's why I chose that one over some of the other ones. This one was like $15. It was more expensive than some of the other ones that didn't have the switch on it. But I paid the extra money for the switch. Right here I have a Light My Fire Scout Fire Steel. Um, don't really need to go too much into that. I think everyone that's watching a video like this already knows what a fire steel does and what it does and everything, what it is, and how good they are to have versus a lighter because you can use them in pretty much any condition. So I have that on there. This is an outdoor products combination survival whistle. I bought it at Walmart for like $4. It's got a whistle, a compass, a thermometer, as well as a, let's see if I can get it out here. There we go. A magnifying glass. Now, the magnifying glass is useful for quite a few things. Those of you that have issues seeing, if you don't have your glasses with you, you can use it to read things. You can also use it if you have a splinter or something in your hand or somewhere. You can hold the magnifying glass up to see it better, as well as start a fire with it if you didn't have any other source of making a fire. Um, the thermometer I actually like a lot because having a thermometer in the outdoors is actually a pretty good thing because at first you'd think, well, what do I need to know what the temperature is? If I'm hot, I, take some clothes off, get in the shade. If I'm cold, I put some clothes on, make a fire or whatever in a survival situation. But it actually can go a long way into the psychological aspect of survival, and that's just keeping a positive way of thinking and the will to live. And those are actually the most important things that you can have while you're in a survival situation. If you don't have the will to live, you can have all the survival tools and knowledge in the world, but if you don't have the will to live, you're not going to live. So a thermometer can go a long way into just kind of help keeping that positive way of thinking. You look down at your thermometer, you think it's like 35, 40 degrees, but it's really only like 50 degrees. Then you can start thinking positive again, going, oh, you know what, it's really not that bad. I can survive that. It's only 50 degrees. It's not a big deal. So that's why I like the thermometer. The compass, it's obviously not a land navigation compass by any means. I'm not going to try and take this compass here and a map and try and find my way out of a forest or a jungle or something if I'm lost. But it it gives you a good sense of direction. And if for some reason you do end up needing to leave the area you're in, be it to get to higher ground, or you're just in an area that's familiar enough to you that you say, "Hey, I know that due north or south or whatever direction you need to go, there's a main road where people will be traveling on all the time and I can get some help." This compass will allow you to stay going in that general direction until you can get to that main road or whatever it is that you need to go, a ranger station or whatever. So, and it's actually really good. A lot.